Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about a Chaos Lord devoted to Khorne by the name of Mahaur the Harvester. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I try to do is create a lore portion in the beginning of the video, a hobby portion in the middle, and then towards the end I answer whatever comments you guys left off from yesterday's 40 Facts video. Today I ran out of time, so I had to kind of post this late. There's no hobby portion, and the lore portion is a bit small, but the story of Mahaur the Harvester is actually pretty badass, and you learn a little bit about the Halo stars, which is pretty neat. If you guys have any comments or questions or suggestions, please comment down in the comment section below. I'll answer them tomorrow, and I hope you guys enjoy. So with that said, let's get into 40 facts on Mahaur the Harvester. Before Mahaur fell to the service of the blood god Khorne, he was the captain of the 3rd Company of the Shadowhawks Loyalist Space Marine chapter, and in the 39th millennium, after a 12-year campaign to eradicate the rebellious factions within the population of the hive world of Kerak Morn, the 3rd Company of the Shadowhawks were censured for their widespread culling of the population that marked the end of the campaign, but left the world unable to fulfill the production quota owed to the Administratum. Rather than accept the dishonor of exile on a penitent crusade, Captain Mahaur led the survivors of the 3rd Company in a series of raids on Imperial fleets and outposts in the Kerak system, before vanishing into the lightless void of the Halo stars. The Halo stars was the name given to the ancient formation of stars that encircled the outer edge of the Milky Way galaxy. It represented the last stellar cluster to be encountered before one enters the eternal frigid night of the intergalactic void. This region of space has a malignant reputation amongst the Imperial starfarers, and it is believed by many, including quite a few rogue traders and Adeptus Mechanicus explorators, that those foolish enough to venture out into those mysterious reaches never return. And their beliefs have some credibility, as pirates, warp entities, and new species of hostile Xenos often dwell in the frontier's darkness. In this void, Mahaur was able to allow his hatred of the Imperium to fester. It was unfathomable how Astarte warriors could allow themselves to be ruled over by the High Lords of Terra, such a weak and pathetic organization that has no true grasp of how much worthier a space marine is to rule over the galaxy. While man hides and fears the depths of the Halo stars, Mahaur and his battle brothers thrive, just further proof of the Astarte superiority. Surprisingly, the former Loyalist captain found several renegade warbands already existing in this region of space. They finally introduced Mahaur to a being worthy of his following, entity so powerful his wrath has no complacency, Khorne, the god of war. Inspired by the other warband's rebellious nature and driven by his thirst for revenge against the weak Imperium, Mahaur convinced these traitors to follow him on a path of retribution against those unfit to rule. There, Mahaur finally succumbed to the temptations of the blood god Khorne, and he became leader of the Slaughterkin warband. The Imperium wouldn't take notice of Mahaur again until the late 41st millennium, when the Adeptus Administratum tithe fleets arrived on the 3 worlds of the Hriedmark cluster, seeking the tally of lives and produce due to the Emperor as part of the Imperial tithes. They found that each world was a wasteland. The headless corpses of each of the world's inhabitants lay abandoned, not slain in battle, but carefully harvested and their skulls piled in great towering obelisks. While attempting to demolish these foul monuments, the Slaughterkin warband came down on the Imperial forces, who were led by Mahaur, and soon the skulls of the Administratum factions and the Astra Militarum regiments assigned to their protection were offered in sacrifice to Khorne atop the rebuilt obelisks. After this devastation, Mahaur became known as the Harvester, and he sought to assault the agri-world of Kerak in the Ultima Segmentum. He laid the seeds of rebellion by establishing a series of chaos cults. They were the so-called cardinal cults from among the world's population of primitive agricultural workers, who spent their lives harvesting the roots of the world's nutrient-rich trees. Their yield was processed into sustenance to support the Astra Militarum regiments engaged in the Carthage Crusade. The cult spread rapidly throughout the population and unleashed a massive rebellion against the imperial rule. It wasn't long before the world fell to complete anarchy and war. The ensuing conflict with the local planetary defense force and the Astra Militarum regiments was fought beneath the dense canopy of the swamp-like forests and in the air between the Imperial Navy pilots and the Hell Talons and Hellblades brought to the world by the Slaughterkin's arrival after the rebellion had severely weakened the Imperial defenders. The Imperial cause was further damaged when the corruption of chaos took many of the planetary defense force units as they turned to the worship of the ruinous powers. Once the Harvester took the planetary capital, the victory of the forces of chaos seemed assured. Deliverance only came when the 5th Battle Company of the Star Phantoms chapter of the Adeptus Astartes, under the command of Captain Calfax, arrived in system for resupply, and they launched an immediate and devastating attack upon the rebel stronghold, slaying the Harvester and driving the remaining traitor marines of the Slaughterkin back into the Halo Stars. Now that we know the lore to Mahaur, the Harvester, the Coronet Chaos Lord, let's get into some questions that you guys left off in yesterday's 40 Facts video. So the 40 Facts on the Space Marines versus the Dark Eldar. It's a pretty cool video because it was the Mantis Warriors versus the Dark Eldar known as the Slave Lords. If you guys are interested in that video, I'll put a link up above. But yeah, let's get into the questions. The first question comes from the big one. Do the Space Marines or the Astra Militarum ever use nuclear/atomic weapons? The answer is yes. So the Space Marines back in 30K had a special unit designed to use nuclear weapons. These nuclear weapons were then banned by the Emperor just because they were extremely devastating. They were rarely used. They were seen as like not honorable by the Primarchs. I go into detail in that 40 Facts video that I'll put a link up above to. But that is a specialist unit that existed only in 30K, and right now it just doesn't. And just to show you guys how devastating it was, Space Marines are supposed to be biologically superior humans. So they are built to withstand the harshest environments in the galaxy. These weapons that they were using, these nuclear weapons, were mutating their biology. That's how devastating it was to the actual holder of the weapon. But yeah, I go into detail in that video, so you guys should check it out if you're interested. And then as far as the Astra Militarum, not really the Astra Militarum, it's the Imperial Navy. So the Imperial Navy uses nuclear weapons when it comes to like bombing a planet for Exterminatus. If you check out our 40 Facts on Exterminatus, you'll find that. I'll put a link up above. The more popular one is the, which one is it? It's called the something bomb. Oh, virus bombs. Virus bombs are probably the most popular for Exterminatus, or at least in the lore. But no, they have like regular nuclear weapons that they use to destroy a planet. It's just that you don't really hear about it because they just say Exterminatus, and it's expected that it gets blown up and stuff like that. Another little comment that I want to throw in here before we continue. Whenever I say check out a link up above and the link doesn't show, it's probably because I didn't have time to post it, or I just, didn't get around to it. So what you can do is you could just look up 40 Facts on whatever topic we're talking about, and odds are we're going to pop up. But use that 40 Facts or that One Mind Syndicate tag in the YouTube search bar, and it'll show up. And now that that's said, I want to... there's another question by YardDG. Good content, guys, as always. Thank you. Just wondering, you make great content, so why do you base everything around 40? I know this is 40K, but surely you have to really manipulate your content. Surely it doesn't always fit, and you have to add guff to remove ideas to fit this mold. Can't you do different ones, not 40? I will always watch them anyways, whatever you guys do. Thanks. Well, thank you for the comment and everything. And kind of like I was saying earlier, the reason we do 40 Facts is because that's become kind of like a marketing thing. Like our tag is like 40 Facts. We don't actually put out facts anymore. We just read the lore. But because that has become like connected to the lore, that is what we're going to continue to do. The reason, or it started out that way because the channel wasn't just about 40K lore. We were trying like a bunch of different things, not just 40K stuff either. We were doing Pokemon, HeroClix, Yu-Gi-Oh, all this other stuff. And then I posted an 80 facts and lore on the Orcs, and then 80 facts on the Tau, and that took off. Like, people really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to switch it to 40 facts because it's 40K. And then it became so that, and then we started like seeing that certain video episodes or types were doing better than others, and that's where we started getting like For the Greater Wars, and then what the Sound Alchemist has been doing with his like I forget what they're called, Grimdark Battles. So the 40 facts is to show the audience that, like, if you see this on your feed and it says 40 facts, it's going to be a 40K lore video. It's not going to be the For the Greater Wall. It's not going to be anything else. So that's what it has become. Now, lore is connected to 40 facts video. The Q&A with the Sound Alchemist in me, that is in the For the Greater Walls, and then the death battles and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's why. It's easier to search, and it has become kind of like an easy like thing that you could just see and say, okay, this is going to be a video that I want to watch today. Let me click on it. Instead of like clicking on it, and because we do get a lot of people complaining of like, oh, I expected this to be a 40 facts video or a lore video, when it was actually a For the Greater Wall. It's because that 40 facts tag wasn't on there. So, yeah. This question comes from Siobhan Tabbins. How y'all feeling about the new phone game? So I have a pretty ancient phone. This is like the iPhone 6 maybe? I don't know. But it doesn't have any memory. So whenever I go into the App Store to download a new app, one of two things happens. Either I don't have enough memory space for it and I can't download it, so I have to delete another app, and I'm not about to delete Battlescribe. Or it's just too old and I need to update and I can't update, so that app just doesn't fit with my software. I just need to buy a new phone eventually. Once I get some more cash, I'll probably go in and buy some new stuff. Or a new phone, I should say. But yeah. Next question comes from Sapper12B. Are there any rogue Mechanicus cults? I don't mean like the Dark Mechanicus or the Chaos Worshippers or anything like that. Just ones that have decided to break off and do their own thing and search for/apply tech and intelligence in the way that they see fit, or that they're to fit their own desires and objectives. Yes. I think it's called the Severan Dominants. They were originally like a human cult or a human organization that was all about trading. So they split off from the Imperium to continue or to pursue their trade empire. So their technology was geared towards trading. But then the Imperium came and was like, no, you're not going to split off without us destroying you completely. And then the other one was the Meritic clans. The Meritic clans, kind of the same thing. They were a little bit more about technology. The Imperium didn't want that. They became pirates. They controlled a certain area. And then the Meritic War happened, and the Imperium again crushed them. But yeah, these Mechanicus cults do exist where like it's geared towards technology. So you could even think of them kind of like the Greater Good or like the Tau Empire, where they're more technology oriented. But yeah. And then you go on to say, dude, you made my day. I can't believe you actually read that much of that stupid long message. Thanks to COVID restrictions where I live, I'm finally back working, and I got my first paycheck coming this Friday. I'm going to join your Patreon finally. Looking very forward to being my first time. That's awesome, man. It's good to hear that you're back working, and we appreciate the support on Patreon. Like I say usually in the beginning of the video, it's just $1 a month. Don't give us anything more. We're not creating Patreon content right now. We did in the past, but right now we're not. So it's, that dollar is just supporting these channels or these videos and stuff like that, and supporting the channel. So I really, really appreciate it. And thanks for the kind words. It's good to have you supporting the channel. Next question comes from Kota. What are the animated scenes from? It's usually from Battlefleet Gothic. So it's a PC game where you're just fighting, battleships versus battleships and stuff like that. And yeah. And then we'll read one more question from Othello Let. Are Eldar stronger than standard humans? I've seen yes and no, so I would really appreciate a definite answer. The definite answer is yes, an Eldar is stronger than a human. They are psychically more powerful. They are physically faster. I think the best example would be in The Hobbit, when the Eldar, the Eldar are just elegant in their movements, especially like the Wood Elves. That is what I imagine the Eldar moving like, compared to the humans, where the humans are super barbaric. Even in the way they speak and the way they move, It's just nothing compared to the Eldar. And then the Eldars are obviously more intelligent. They can create Wraithbone and just better technologically. So yeah, the Eldar are stronger. And those are the questions for today. I'm answering these questions kind of early on in the day, so if I don't get to your question, just ask again in today's video, and I'll try my best to answer it tomorrow. I really appreciate you guys watching and listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.